So thanks everybody for joining this next session. Let's welcome Arman Yahin from Main Road Post on stage. For everybody who's been a part or is a part of a VFX house, I'm sure that what he's going to talk about will be very interesting and also familiar to you, because you guys are all facing ambitious deadlines, probably sometimes miscommunications in your teams, probably some silo mentality happening in the VFX houses. So what Arman is going to share with you today is their innovative approach towards managing the processes at Main Road Post, namely through the Agile methodologies that they've adopted from the IT industry, from Silicon Valley. So let's welcome Arman on stage. Give him a big round of applause.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, you said everything, so I can go now, you know. Oh, okay, hello guys. So my name is Arman, and the Bulgaria takes a special place in my heart because I was here 16 years ago, and we shot here the movie called Turkish Gambit, and it was the first movie when I was overall visual effects supervisor, and we shot it here totally for the 4 months. So I'm glad to be back here. And I just want to ask a couple of questions, and if you help, it will be great. So first, I must say that this is the third time when I'm making presentation in English. So if I will stuck somewhere, please help me, because I need to translate all the time in my head. And how many of you working in a visual effects or worked? Nice, nice. How many of you working in a companies? Nice, great. How many of you working in a companies like more than 30 or 50 people? Okay, how many of you working in a companies that are small companies like 10 to 12? Great. How many of you working in a studios like 3 to 7? You. Thank you. Great. Thank you very much. And okay, let's start with the positive things. I will show you some notes, and if you agree with that, please clap or say yes. Is it okay? Okay. Let's start. This one. You agree with that? I mean, when the different departments blaming each other, like animators saying the riggers made a bad job, or the modeling saying that concept artists made the concept that you can't realize, or the shading artist saying that the model is too complex and you can't shade. Is it a usual situation? Yeah, thank you. Next one, repeating mistakes. So it's like, you know, always the problem with the file naming, or that I say that the quality check, etc., etc. Supervisors as bottlenecks. Thank you. Gantt chart is fucked up. Who don't know what is Gantt chart? Who know what is Gantt chart? You don't know what the Gantt chart. Gantt chart, you know, when the producer or manager, they have a sheet or Excel, and then this is the lines of the management. When you have, we start here, modeling here, and after modeling, we need to texture, so this is next line, and it's called cascade, it's called waterfall. It's a type of the work called waterfall, because you are making the dates and moving like in cascade situation till the end. So it's called Gantt chart. And looks like you agree with that, okay. Because you always need to move it. It's changing, constantly changing. And too optimistic schedules. Wow. I know you like it. Long hours. You agree with that? Yeah, I knew you like it. You know, it's long hours is our favorite. So this is almost all of it, the result of the silo thinking. Who know what is silo thinking? You know. Silo thinking, who knows a silo? Silo, it's a bunker, you know? This is a place when you can hide. So the silo thinking, it's the cognitive distortion. When you working in a department, making, like, You are modeling department or the animation department. So you have like the people around you who are making the same job. And we as a people, we are always like, this is like kids psychology, because we always thinking that our problems is much bigger problems than the problems of the other people. And the silo thinking means that you think that you are savior, that you are making the better job than the others. And the others, they're making not okay job because they generating the problems, but we are great, we are okay, we're making our best. And it came from, that's because you're not informed of what other people doing and what the problems they have. Okay, let's start with a brief history of our company. So we started in 2006. We were 6 people, and we knew each other. It was a trust because we worked before, and understanding the strong and weak sides of each other because we have a lot of history together. We were T-shaped. At that moment, we thought we were generalists, but now I know it's called T-shaped because generalist, it's a little bit like, it's not right. It's not the right term because T-shaped, it's a concept that invented in 1999, and it means like vertical bar, it's expertise, it's something, and horizontal bar that you can know something like, you're not only like a modeling artist, but you can some little texture, etc., etc., and of course, soft skills, because you must know how to communicate. Establish communication. So this is the like visualizing how we were working. It's our company, like people, artists. It's me, because I was like a compositing artist, and I was a director, I was a visual effects supervisor and a producer, and the guys said to me that I must learn to how to animate camera in Houdini, because I have experience in movie making, so I'm okay person with that. And M is my partner, he's a CTO of our company, a technical director. And C, it's a client, because when the client comes to us, he see everybody and can talk to every person. And this is green lines, it's communication between each other. And blue lines, it's communication with clients, so everybody could talk to the client. 2016, after 10 years, we're growing and growing, we came to the 50 people. And this is like, simplified visualization of how it could be, like departments, leads and coordinators, and supervisor and producer, and then you go to the client, because client prefer to talk with, he don't love to talk with a lot of people right now. And blue lines is the communication, because this is you making some job, artist making job, go to the lead, lead making comments, work goes back, and feedback, then lead is okay, going to supervisor, and then supervisor making a feedback, and it go back, and then after few iteration goes to supervisor, okay, go to the client make a feedback, and then we go back to this. And the red lines, so it's like bad communication. We have it, because we always try to talk and communicate. The people love to socialize. So, but it was like miscommunication between departments. So grow a number of middle management, because you need more people to take the information from this department to this or somewhere. And I realized that we're losing something. We started to lose something. We lose the communication. We started to lose this, energy of making things, because we came to this industry. I believe that everybody can go into visual effect because we love movies, we want to tell the stories, we love making cool things. And at the end of the day, what I watch in our industry, the people became unhappy. A lot of people in visual effects unhappy. I don't know how in Bulgaria, but in Russia it's like that. A lot of people always speaking about the problems and problems and problems. And my partner, one of the co-founders, he's a producer and director in Russia, and he said, come on, we are growing, so we need to grow from the family type company to the big company, and we need to change management, so we need to understand how the big companies are constructed. So it could be like, how to say, болезни роста, I don't remember in Russian, in English, болезни роста. Growth problems, yes, growth problems. Yeah, and because you're breaking the system and you're building new system. And I didn't agree with that. I think that something is wrong in that, because I don't like that we have at that moment. I don't like this miscommunication. I don't like when the animator don't go like 10 meters to the lighting guy and don't say that he reanimate the camera and he have a new version. I don't like it, because he say, I put it in our project tracking tool so you can watch it. Come on, guy, you can walk and say to him. So it started to be a problem. And then I heard that the Sergey, who inventor of CJ, he was in the FMX, and he said, he made a Facebook post that some Ukrainian company, small company called Cinnamon, they're using some revolutionary management system called Scrum. And there's no news about that. No details. I thought, what is this? Interesting. I started to Google, and I found that Scrum, it's a system who was invented like, it was in 1990s by IT people. And it's you see, it's a framework. Framework, it's not like a method. Framework, it's like an exoskeleton. So I will not go through the details. If you'll be interested, you can Google it. But the main principles of the Scrum is 3 roles: team, product owner, Scrum Master. Team, it's the team. It's a small team, like 3 to 9 people, not more. Product owner, it's in visual effects, it's a mix of visual effects supervisor and the producer. And the product owner cannot say how the team do the job. Product owner responsible only for the final result and for the priorities of the work. And the Scrum Master. Scrum Master, it's not like a master. Scrum Master, it's a coach. It's a person who knows the Scrum good, who knows this methodology, and he's always pushing, he's facilitating the team to выполнять. To perform the rules, sorry. And it's not like a hierarchy. They are on the same level. The team responsible for the final result. Small cross-functional teams, 3 to 9 people. Cross-functional means that it's not a department. It means a small team that the sum of the knowledge in this team must be enough to make a product from start to end. I mean, it must be people who can model, texture, like shading, FX, compositing, etc., etc. That must be enough people. And I know that in visual effects, we have people who can make a lot of things. So we are, how to say, breaking this system when you have a person equals function. It's not like that. It's a person, and every task is just a task. Modeling, it's not more the person. Modeling, it's a task who can make for different people. Team decides how they will do the work. It's a team's decision how they do technically. Nobody can say to them how they will make it and who in a team will make the job, because the team decides who will take the task. And as I said, team decides who will be in a team. It's very important, including the hiring process, because I can find some great people in our company, like to hire people, but the team decides, do they work with them or not? It's very important that the team must like each other. It's very important because the final goal of the team to make them friends. Because there is team dynamic, you know, it's always in psychology. You need the time that to be like establish the communication. Because when we're building a team, first the team does is go down in productivity, because they like starting to communicate and finding the words, and there is arguing, there is a lot of conflicts all the time. So they need the time to go through this like bumping road, you know, to understand each other, and then in a final goal, it's to be safe. That you can like act unsafe, but everybody is okay with that because everybody know you. This is a very important part in the Scrum guide called Scrum Values that nobody reading. But it's very important. It's a 5 values. Commitment to the work, commitment to the team, focus on the task that you have, openness. It means everything must be transparent, everything must be open. Respect. It's very important task that you're respecting each other. Don't matter what the level of the artist. Is it low level, is it student or the mid level? You respect him because he is your team member. Because there is no more like levels of hierarchy. It's a one level, it's a self-organized, there is no more supervisors, no coordinators. It's only a team member. And the courage. Courage, it means you must be courageous enough to make a new crazy ideas, to experiment, to not too afraid to fail, because our work is fail every day. And this is part of the large-scale Scrum framework. It's a new meta framework that because the people from IT always experimenting and try to find ways how to work, because Scrum, it's about one team, but we have a lot of people, so it's like about many teams. You can read it, you can Google. I will not do details. So, and after that, we moved to the new office, and we needed to rebuild, we need to design the office, taking in mind how the team will sit. So it's not like an open office, or it's not okay, it's an open office because it's too loud, too noisy, and it's not good when you have rooms because there is no communication. And so we made our office with a zoned, because every team have their own place where they're sitting together. It's very important they're sitting together, because when you sit when the animator sitting near the rigger, he can't just blame him, because he understands, he sees his problems, and they try to communicate. And he's a person. It's like, okay, it's scary to blame them in face-to-face. So we sit them together. So there's different teams in different places. And it's a very important thing that we realize, that we need to build the place where they can just sit and talk. Because our work, and I needed to realize I'm the head of a company, because previously I was, they sitting in a kitchen and talking and drinking tea. Why are you wasting your time? Come on, guys, you need to work. And I needed to change my mindset, because they sitting and talking about the work, and maybe they need the pause because they relaxing, and nobody's relaxing because we're working in our mind. We're not working by hands. It's a very important thing. And we made a lot of things when they can see and speak, and because when they smoking somewhere, they working. Because we are like crazy people, we love to work, we always think about that. Because it's not a job that you can go and take a lot of money, We're making that job because we love it. And this is the boards each team have, because it's it's the rule that the work must be visualized. And so it's called Scrum boards, and each team they can work a physical board. It's a different team's board, they split it. And it's very important that we don't provide with a task to the team like you make animation and modeling and that. We're taking our task is a shot or sequence. We give them. No, we not give them, they taking. Because product owner making this is priorities tasks, and the team decide who will take different tasks. And they splitting them inside a team. They deciding how they will split, how they will make, who will do the task. So they making like that. It's a one board of the other team, so they writing something. It's called information radiators. Because when you go to the place, you need to have information. And it's good when it's physical, because you always see what's going on. You see, it's different. Every team decides how they will work. And this is the online board. One team loves to work online. They don't like physical boards. They have this Kanban board inside the online tool. And this is upper 3 pictures. This is different meetings, because in Scrum there's a lot of meetings, much more than the usual. And in the beginning, I will not go through the how we make these 3 years, because it wasn't the silver bullet, I must say. It was painful process, because we're changing the people. They didn't understand why they're making that, why they need it, but we need to constantly pushing them to try and try and try. There's a lot of meetings, so this is the meeting when they're deciding. It's members of different teams, like they talking about some task. This is in a center members. It's not like we're saying you go. We're saying who wants to participate in that, and they deciding who wants. So this is like they making. We now have a very big project, like 2,100 shots, and there is a lot of scenes and a lot of assets. So they deciding that it's a board of dependencies between the assets and the episode, and they making this board by themselves with the supervisor and with the product owner. And 3 bottom pictures. It was very interesting experiment for us. It's a new client, that project that we are finishing now. It's a big Hong Kong sci-fi movie, and we're making very big job. And there is a director came to us for the first time, and we asked him, is it okay if you will talk with the teams, not with somebody like in between? And he said, I'm okay. So they go to the teams and discussing, like in this place, in screening room, etc. So they talked, and director was okay. So because he have direct communication to the artists, and every decision on that project, and a very big project for us, I think it's the biggest project, was made by the artists. It's very important, and they see the impact on this. This is what we have now. That's not all of that, it's 70 plus, but we have 90 people company now, and 11 teams from different sides, like from 2 to 7 people. And one concept development team, because we have a very good artist, but they working on the development of the new projects. So we didn't we made like dedicated department. In some teams we have people with the concept art abilities, but this is dedicated. Houston, it's a team of its former coordinators. And they make a team, like it's a helpers. They working with the vendors, or they working with the help to team with something. And they inside the Houston, because it's six people, and everybody is girls in this team, because we talked yesterday on this Women in Tech panel, because the girls more adaptive, more agile, and have more empathy. It's very important. So they're helpers. So there's a former producers and coordinators. And Gateway, it's an interesting thing that it's our idea, because in Russia it's a very small industry. We don't have so many people, and because the team decides with whom they work, they fire the members of the team from time to time if they don't like how they act. So Gateway, it's the place when the people comes from the team and wait, maybe they will go to the other team, or it's a new people who come to our company and they don't understand the system, because you see it's a crazy system. It's not usual. So a Gateway, it's like a place in between teams. It's like inner freelancers. They're working inside that. And I think we will change the name, because in Russia there is some connotation, because when I thought make a name Gateway, I thought it's between the teams. But some of our people thinking it's gateway to the outer space, so it's like a negative connotation. And executive action team, it's like it's our CTO, it's a senior producer, and it's me. It's a team who helping other teams to, we're trying to clean the road for they moving and making big decisions, strategic decisions. But it's not like we are ruling. I don't want, a head of the company, I'm not going to the team and saying, you will do this and you will do this. No. It's very important. I try to help them to make their job, because they have the authority for that. They're empowered to this. So, let's go in little theory. It's a very interesting thing that I found not so long time ago. It's called Kinevin. Kinevin, it's a conceptual framework to help to make decisions. It's from Wikipedia, you can read it. So there is 4 domains of Canadian means habitat. It's the 4 domains of the different situation when we need to make decision, and it's helping you make decisions because it's the first domain. It's called simple. You see bottom right. It's obvious. When you have something, it's obvious. You need to build a table. If you never build a table, you know how to make it. So the algorithm is sense, choose from category, and respond because you know how to make it. It's very simple. Then complicated. And when you need the more knowledge, you need the more experts. So there's a sense, analyze, respond. And these 2 domains, this is called best practice. Everybody knows how to make it. There is one way to make it. There is no different way, only one. The complicated, good practice, there is no best practice. It's different ways to solve the problem. So it's a good practice. And next domain, it's called complex. There is no good and best practice. Every decision is emergent. You need to probe, then sense, and then respond. So you need a lot of testing. You need to test, and then decisions come, and then you have a understanding, and then go there, and then you next test, and then you understand how to solve the situation. And the final, it's called, I choose the right picture because it's always talking like chaos. I think it will be not right to take it here, but it's a chaos. You know, this is a situation when you don't know how to do, and it's very dangerous to your life. And you only need to act, because it could be a situation with a catastrophe or something. You need just act, and then sense the stability, and then respond. So it means like you always trying to, from like this domain, to try to move to that domain. You understand? From that domain, you try to move there, to complicate it, to have the expertise. So this right domains, it's called knowns. We know it. We have experience. The knowledge is enough to make it. This is the unknowns. And I think that the visual effects and computer graphics stay in here because it's always new task. No director wants to make it the same visual effect that in previous movie. We want to talk a new stories. It's the same in a movie making, is storytelling, because the old method, it's not working. You know, some screenwriters, they have this like $1 million story book, and it doesn't mean that you make a good story, but you know the structure, and it's not working. So you need to test and test and test. And here, this domain, working by waterfall, that I call it Gantt chart, because you know how to make it, you know how to predict the dates, so you can make these lines, and it will be okay. And here, and the same, and the complicated, they have like the methods called PMI, Project Management Institute, or Prince2, the British system called Project Management in Controlled Environment. So it's controlled, it's very important. And here, it's Agile and Scrum, because you don't understand, you need to test, and then you go back to work. And then you test and test. So it's Agile systems. And as you see, we try in our modern world working here with the old methods. A little bit history. This guy, you can read it, Frederick Winslow Taylor, this guy who invented this system called scientific management in 1911. 100 years ago, he made this system when you have a worker and you have a manager. Because in that times, the workers didn't know how to make it. And the manager is most experienced person. And the manager know how to make it. He say to the worker what to do. Because at that times, there is not so many people with a good education and good knowledge of something. And I must say, he tried to make a better living for the people because he invented this system, and there is a lot of resistance for the system, for the managers, for the structure. But he tried to make the workers' life better, because if you can make the more efficient production, that means that there will be more money and the owners can pay more money. But this is his quote, you see, what he's written. The worker shall be so stupid and it will be great. Because there is other people who think. And this is other guy, Henry Lawrence Gantt. This guy who invented Gantt chart. When? 1910s, 100 years ago, and we're still using that. I mean, they invented the system. Now the artists are constantly learning. We're learning new tools, new systems, new experience. But the management, come on, it's old. It's too old. So that's why, that's last 3 years that I'm watching in IT industry and trying to understand how they work, because they have this experience long years ago. And they inventing the new system, they're trying that, the new system. So that's why I'm like it. So this is 3 years of experience. Scrum, waterfall, it's a training. It's not a method that you taking the people, applying the Scrum, it's not working. It's a training because you're changing the people, you're changing the mindset how to work. And it's very painful process. I think I have some note, maybe sorry? For this? No, okay. And you need to train people, you need to change their mind, and it's a long process, and it's not working from the beginning. You need a very long time. So only after 3 years of experiments, we started to feel that we understand how to work. We understand the system, and the people is okay with that. They now feel safe. Culture follows organizational structure. You cannot make a good culture with this system, because you know, this team building, etc. Like we're taking the beers and going some, activities. It's not working. It have a random effect. It could work or not. So the Scrum is real team building because it's push people out to comfort zone, push people to communicate, push people to make decisions. And not working, it's with sociopaths and people with toxic behavior, because it's hard to make friends with them, you know, it's very hard. And the system is like pushing them out, because the people decide, the people don't want to work with the people with a bad behavior. And social anxiety is an obstacle. Social anxiety, we all shy, you know, we're afraid to speak, we're afraid to look bad, I don't know, and it's an obstacle. But the system helps to overcome this obstacle. But you need a time. And it became louder in our company, because the visual effect company is a very silent company, because every people sits on their own task and there's nothing to talk, you know. And now they're always constantly talking and talking. It's loud, loud, loud in our company. I like this picture. I heard Agile helps. Yeah, I think we need to try, because the Agile enlightening the dysfunctions. It's enlightening. And there's, no, this Agile is not working, because when you put the Agile in the system, there's a lot of problems, like people don't want to communicate, people don't want to share the knowledge, people don't want to this, and oh, no, it's not working. It's working, but it's lighting the dysfunctions. And I love this quote: the team is not a group of people who work together, a team is a group of people who trust each other. It's very important. It's very important. This is the team. Because the team, people who are sitting near together, it's not a team, it's like a group. This is how now we have the project planning, you see. This is members of our teams. This is the senior producer, there's a product owner, Julia, and this is 2 boards, you see. This is the whole our projects. This is a few movies. Blue is the biggest movie with the episodes. Yellow, it's a technical task, because from time to time we have issues with the pipeline, teams taking the task and solving this. So each team became like, cross-functional. They're not only making something, they can fix the pipeline, or they want to make some tool, so they're taking with them to the work and fixing this. And this is the high priority task, and this is the team's work, what they're doing now. So this is like a 12, areas, and this is like little stickers with the task, what they're doing in this sprint. I forgot to say, sprint is a short amount of work, like week or 2 weeks when they're going. So it's constantly we have a milestone. Where are we now? Ready to experiment with working process. People feel this safe. They are okay with that, with these changes. They understand that we're making this for the good. And now they open because we have a 2-week sprint. Then we have a 1-week sprint. Now we have 2 days sprints. So every 2 days there is a result of a team. We go together speaking with each other. Or we try to use new methods. Try to use different methods of working, like Kanban method from David J. Anderson, and a couple of teams trying to implement it because they see it could be better for our work. For me, it became like a fluid structure because I don't feel like a company now like mechanic organism. I feel it's like glass with the water because the system constantly moving. Team can switch from one project to help others. Like whole team's moving, we need to fix something, to make some task because they have a deadlines, and then move back to the day project. And it's not like who will do? Whole team make it. It's what I realized, that company, it's not like a structure, it's you're building a socium, we're building a living organism. And it's not assembly line, it's an ecosystem with a culture, with the rules that can fix itself. And it's very important. We try to find a happiness at work because people became much more motivated because they see the impact of the work. They making decisions. We are trying to get rid of the long hours. We trying not to work on the weekends. We forbidden to work at night. It's forbidden because we are like, we don't getting younger because we have families. So people, and yeah, we started to work maybe slowly. It's impacting the productivity. But what we have new, it's a crazy ideas because team always tasting new ideas. How we make that, how we make this, because there's a knowledge in these great teams. So we try to find new way how to achieve result, not to make a lot of waste, a lot of things that they didn't know, because now they sitting together, they understand the whole task, they see the whole picture of the project, so they know that they don't need to make this detailed model or this detailed texture. They understand that it will be very small on screen, so we make it like very simple. And they try to they constantly learning. They making this. I have some concept artist who in one team who made the textures and concept art. Now she's trying to make fluid simulations, like explosions, because the team just, okay, you try. So they constantly learning. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Arman. Everybody was smiling and nodding their heads while you were presenting. I'm not sure if you were able to see that because of the light.
Yes.
So I was right that people will be able to relate to everything that you're going to say today.
Can we switch the light on?
Yeah, so let's bring the lights a little bit up, and let's get a few questions for Arman. We have a question right here.
Hey, Arman.
Hi, hello.
Great talk. In my time, previous job, I worked at Autodesk, where we follow the Agile methodology. I was always under the impression that Agile and waterfall were orthogonal. They didn't complement each other. They were two different methodologies. And waterfall was basically shit rolls downhill, right? Like, the person at the top is supposed to take care of things, and if not, they pass it on and on and on. And that's just, by the end of the waterfall, it's supposed to be done, but it may not be done. You can't go back. What is your take on that? It sounds like you use both. Is that correct?
Now we don't use, we have some sort of like overall planning. But what I like in Agile, because when you work in waterfall, you making like predictions. We need to do this. So you're making the project before you start to work. And then you go there and projects constantly changing. So I like in Agile that you have a understanding. We understand that directors don't know what to do. So we understand that. Because in this hierarchical world, everybody's thinking that director knows what he wants. But this is not right. So now we have deadlines, and we're all constantly discussing with people what we can do. And they saying, we can do this and this and that, and we will not do that. So it's very important to be with the client together so we can discuss with them. Like, he said, I want this. The team say, can we do like that or like that, not the same. And so it's always like in a talking, but we still have the problem with the schedules. We're still trying to realize it. So that's why we tried the Kanban method, because he have a method have a metrics. So we're still in experiments to find the right way.
Test. Oh. To follow up on that, only one of the teams uses an electronic form of management. Like it looked very organic and analog with the post-it notes on the board and everything, which is great, but that takes a lot of maintenance, and you can't let's say you wake up in the morning and you're at home and you just want to have a look at the board and what the task order is and everything. You can't do that. There's only one central source of truth. Is that intentional, or do you just not encourage using Jira or something
I didn't
along, or
encourage.
Kanban board or anything?
No, they're deciding for
They
themselves.
could do whatever they want.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was very interesting experience, because in visual effects you have this project management tools like Shotgun. We have the Cerebro in Russia. And it's always like, it's a big database with the reviews. And when it crashes, there is a hysterics. Working, stopping, nobody knows what to do, And we have that. And when after some time, when the system was crashed, it was like nothing was stopped, because every knowledge in every team, they have it on their board, so we don't need it. So it's not like we're splitting like on a small task. So they're deciding for themselves. It's much simpler system. It's more like a common sense. I don't know, did I answer to you? Some sort of, okay, more or less, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. They decided, because a lot of teams previously have a digital, and then they decided to go analog, because it's like they always see. Because when you have a digital, you close the browser and that's it. You don't see nothing. Here you cannot close it, because it's always before your eyes.
We have one more question over there.
Yes, hi. How do you bid on projects?
What?
How do you bid? When a director comes, I want you to make this movie, and you do an estimation and say, we can do it within this time and for this money, because working in sprints.
Yeah. It's still the same. Like, we're trying to predict. It's still like a fixed price. But it's not like a producers making the predictions. We are talking with the team members always. We're discussing every task, and the process of the estimation on a big project could spend like 1 month, because we constantly checking. But with our clients, we are said to them that we re-estimate few times, like in the beginning after script, and then before shooting, and then after editing, we will re-estimate, and they are ready to this. But I know this is not working with everybody, but we still find a way.
So 2 more questions.
Hi, thanks for the great talk. Now, obviously, too many things to ask, but for a start, what happens when there is when a team doesn't really come through? So eventually, if something fails, and the team, because of like team speak, and they want to stick out for themselves, people don't want to kind of say, okay, this hasn't really worked. Is there something outside of the team which can then kind of give them an outside perspective, say like, guys, you have to admit that this doesn't work, even though you wanted it to work?
There's a lot of in between teams talking. So if they cannot know, they're free to go to the other team, to everybody, and speak and try to share the knowledge. And we have the system, like we have a dailies every day, and we have a system who collect the dailies and translating to the big monitors, like in a kitchen and everywhere. So people constantly see what other team is doing, they experience. So they're sharing the knowledge through the whole project to everybody. So they always try to, if they don't know how to do, they go to somebody who can know, and they ask them. So it's a very like a strict rule. We say that everybody must help everybody. It's very important. Did I answer it? Did I get it right? Oh, okay.
Thank you for the great talk. It's very interesting because sometimes you can have meetings for when you have a meeting? And do you feel like too much time is wasting in meetings and talks because people at some point will start liking just throwing information?
You know, it's a good question.
And secondly,
Can I answer it on the first? It's a very good question because in the beginning it was the same. Why we need so many meetings? I want to go. But the meetings is a work because, you know, so many people, a lot of people think that if they sitting in a computer making a job, they're thinking that they're making a value. But it's not like that. A lot of people, because they don't know, because they're in a silo, they didn't see the whole picture, they're making a lot of waste. So the meeting, it's the sharing information and the sharing the understanding of everything. So the meeting is very important. And then it was a lot of meetings because Scrum said, and now we changed like that. We changed the system. We're saying, okay, you will have a meeting when you need it because they started to understand the importance of meeting. So now they have a meeting when they need it, where they feel like they don't have any information. And yeah, it's a lot of meeting. I mean, you can spend 2 days in a week when they're talking and talking because they try to understand. And they, as I said, it's a training. They training to communicate with each other. So this is very important. It's a work too. I think it's much more important. And it's a time, so I need to wait because we lost a lot of money to make it. But in the end, I believe, maybe someday, we will have some profits.
yeah, that was my second question actually. Is it efficient? Because it sounds that it wouldn't be efficient at all. If you have people, the meetings could help sharing the information, but this has to have some limit because after this, they can start, having this waste as well in the meetings a lot more than wasting because at some point you have to act and model the stuff.
It's a very good question because it's some sort of, how to say, it's some sort of social, I think now it looks like social dysfunction because everybody's speaking about the efficiency. But the people who make profits from efficiency, it's not so many people. And maybe make more work in a faster time. Now it's like became a lot of depression and stress, and maybe it's not great, how to say, the result. Yes, it's impact efficiency at the beginning. It's lowering, it's slowing, it's a lot of talking, lots of wasting, but you need the time, and then people starting to think about it. How to make the work more efficient and not to die in the work. Because finding happiness, it's not only about the efficiency. Finding happiness, it's about the purpose, what you're doing. So now they feel the purpose. Because when you go to the visual effect industry, your purpose is making great stories, but you're ending like making little model, and it's not a purpose, Yeah. Did I answer you? Thank you.
We have one more question.
Some guy had a question long time. Yeah.
I've got a question about client communication and your experience about that, because I think a lot of people, including me, will experience that clients assume that they have knowledge in certain fields, coming up with ridiculous deadlines or making ridiculous claims or requests from you, like, I don't know, I have no good example right now with the exception, for example, that please remove this picture, even if it's just a preview video and it's actually a displacement map and not a picture and so on. How is working the client communication with this team, with your teams?
It's two sides of it. It's like a good client who don't understand the situation, so we always explain to him what to do. If it's a bad client, like with a toxic behavior, it was very important decision that I needed to understand. We started to fire the clients. And it was a paradox because previously we have a lot of work, a lot of clients, and we didn't have money. Like it was like 6 months of the project, and we are happy. Now, when we started to fire the clients, we have more work because looks like it's building the ecosystem. So some people started to understand how we're working, and like now we have clients that not acting like that because they understand that we are trying to make our best, and they don't need to like micromanage on making some stupid stuff. They can trust us. But it's a process. I don't know will it work for everybody. Because we have, in Russia, we have a reputation of the company who making great things, and so we can like choose the clients. And it started only after we started to fire the clients. Because maybe I became like 40 years, and I say, what the fuck? I'm 25 years in this industry, and I'm not happy, I'm tired, I'm burned out. Why I need to go to this guy, to director and like that? Why? Because he's a jerk. What the fuck? It's better not to work. It's better not to make this work. It's better not to have a company if everybody around us is jerks. Why? Because it's like money, it's not a happiness, you know. Because I have problems, really, I will not cover it. I have a problem with my psychology. I have very big depressions. I have a stressful, I have a lot of illness, you know, because of the nerves. Why? This is only one time I'm living, you know. I'm not this cat, you know, who has 9 lives, you know.